President Donald Trump is now challenging the credibility of Christine Blasey Ford. It marks a change in tone for the president, who says if the alleged attack was so terrible, why it wasn't reported to police years ago. White House correspondent Mark Irons reports. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Wyatt. That response from the president is receiving a lot of criticism from Democrats and even some Republicans. Before the president called out Ford via Twitter, a top White House aide said the focus is on Kavanaugh's defense.
There's no reason to attack her. The president is defending his nominee to the United States Supreme Court.
Presidential counselor Kellyanne Conway says Christine Blasey Ford should be heard. Her boss avoided talking about Kavanaugh's accuser last night in Las Vegas.
And I'm not saying anything about anybody else, but I want to tell you that Brett Kavanaugh is one of the finest human beings you will ever have the privilege of knowing or meeting.
But this morning, the president had plenty to say on Twitter. I have no doubt that if the attack on Dr. Ford was as bad as she says, charges would have been immediately filed with local law enforcement authorities by either her or her loving parents. I ask that she bring those filings forward so that we can learn date, time, and place. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer fired back at the president, a highly offensive misunderstanding of surviving trauma. Thousands and thousands of strong women have kept being assaulted to themselves for a variety of understandable reasons. The president doesn't even try to understand trauma survivors. He'd rather use their pain for political purposes. The president and top aides contend Democrats have known about Ford's allegation for months and are using it now as a stalling tactic.
Well, obviously, some folks are trying to delay this as much as they can, probably politicizing it as well, trying to go well past the beginning of the Supreme Court term in early October, well past the midterms if they can do it. And that's because there are people who have not named Dr. Ford who have been trying to politicize this entire process from the beginning.
Whenever Judge Kavanaugh's nomination vote does come before the full Senate, he can't afford to lose many Republicans. Today, Maine's Republican Senator Susan Collins said she was appalled by President Trump's tweet challenging Brett Kavanaugh's accuser, Christine Blasey Ford. Collins isn't saying either whether she believes Ford, but it's unclear how she would vote. Wyatt.
White House correspondent Mark Irons reporting. Thanks, Mark.